Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Mushroom Wonderland. Today with me is Daniel Winkler, author.
Welcome to the Wonderland.
Yeah.
Aaron's special Wonderland right out here.
Yeah. We are actually in Mushroom Wonderland. If you don't know me, my name is Aaron Hilliard. I'm the vice president of the Kitsap Peninsula Mycological Society, creator of Mushroom Wonderland, where we go out and talk about wild mushrooms mainly. And Daniel Winkler does a lot with wild mushrooms. So he's an author, a pretty renowned mycologist, travel in the world, right? And you have a website. What's that called?
Mushrooming. We roam for mushrooms.
Mushrooming.com.
Yeah.
Okay, you can go to mushrooming.com and see all the things that Daniel does. Also the author of Fruits of the Forest. No?
That's what it is, a field guide to the edibles of the Pacific Northwest. We have all kinds of great field guides, but the edibility is just underreported and not enough attention to that. And so I thought, okay, that's something that really needs to be done. More information about our edibles, or even the mushrooms nobody knows that are edible. And having grown up in Germany and started mushroom hunting as a kid there, and doing fungal work in High Asia, Tibet, China, and South America and so on, I just realized there's so much more knowledge about edibility out there that is not reported here.
Yeah.
Even some of the scientific names we use here, or used to use European names, and then it would say edibility unknown.
It
Why
says
not
that
look it up in a book with the scientific name in a German, French, English, Scandinavian, or Italian book, and then you get the edibility,
Yeah.
It's all spelled out in European mushroom countries.
Right. I've noticed that in a lot of literature it'll say unknown. And then like I was showing you, I acquired all the historical library from the Mycological Society, and I'm reading all these papers that came from Europe and stuff like a long time ago, where they know everything about these mushrooms.
Right.
It's all been learned somewhere in the past, but for some reason we're just blind to it here.
Well, and because also some of the really good taxonomists who happen to write many of the books are not interested in eating the mushrooms, and which I'm sure helps the taxonomy, because it takes so much time processing, right, dealing with the edibles.
Yeah.
This is the work here. We're fighting fungal or mycophobia, irrational fear of mushrooms, which is part of British colonial heritage.
Yeah.
And the disdain for mushrooms is nowhere as strong in European culture, at least, as in England or the UK. And they exported that disdain and ignorance about mushrooms to all these new places like Australia or New Zealand. It took them
in America,
in America, yeah.
And then we teach our kids, just don't touch that mushroom, stay away from that.
Wash your hands.
Yeah.
It might be toxic, and it's like, you can touch any mushroom. Mushrooms are so much safer. They don't jump at us.
Yeah.
It's us putting them in our digestive system. Then
Yeah,
it's dangerous. Unless we ingest, nothing happens.
So you can nibble and spit any mushroom.
I
Have you ever tried it with the death count?
I did.
You did.
Then I have a water bottle ready, and I try not to get distracted. And the first one I tried was totally fishy, so that was old.
Oh, okay.
So I knew I had to do it again.
Yeah.
And then, some years later, I did it again, and I wouldn't say. I mean, it's a bland Amanita, and
Bland, okay.
Yeah.
We're talking about Amanita phalloides, the death cap.
right, invasive
And so
species.
some mycologists will do this live in front of a crowd just to prove that you can taste test any mushroom as long as you don't ingest it.
Right, and you might get a little bit. So it's
A little
not,
bit sick.
No, but
No.
a tiny bit absorption through your mucous membranes.
Amatoxin,
Right. But
yeah.
so my point was, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna do quickly the taste test, and then I rinse my mouth,
And
then no. That's,
We were smelling one just
Yeah.
Sunday. I broke one open and we
Yeah.
were smelling it. Smelled kind of like bleachy, we thought.
Oh, that's good.
Um,
That's protective.
It didn't smell like something you'd really want to eat, and we were passing it around the
Yeah,
table
yeah.
at the KPMS annual
Yeah.
mushroom show. So if you're into edible mushrooms, this is the episode for you. Really excited. Thanks for joining us on this episode. Let's head into Mushroom Wonderland, see what kind of mushrooms are growing in November of 2023 with Daniel Winkler.
Okay, let's go.
Welcome to Mushroom Wonderland.
doesn't smell. No, you know what? That
Does
could
it smell like the wet flowers at the
Yeah.
Clytopolis?
That's Clytopolis prunulus.
Uh-huh.
I mean, yeah, farinaceous odor. And the cool thing, but sometimes when they don't have the odor, they still have the taste. The farinaceous is, and it cooks away, and that's really good because the farinaceous, there's watermelon-like, cucumber-like, yeah.
Oh.
Clytopolis prunulus, or it's not prunulus actually, it's a different species, and
Can I see it really quick?
so you gotta know your farinaceous odor or taste. It's really important, and then you gotta have pink spores because it is very similar to some nasty Clytocebi that are high in muscarine,
Uh-huh.
like Clytocebi rivulosa, but rivulosa is usually more in a grassland, forest edge situation and not right here in the moss. But so it's not the easiest mushroom, but with that smell,
I can smell it from here. I don't
Right.
even have to put it near.
So-
It smells like wet flour to me.
Yeah.
When somebody described it like that, I was like, that is exactly what it
right,
smells
and it actually won in a blind test. Some mushroom foray in California, it won against the king bolete.
Really?
Cookout, yeah.
So it's a
Blind
good
test.
edible, this
It
one.
is a good edible, and it is also a bolete indicator.
Oh,
so
okay.
often where you find them, there's king boletes, and here I found them together with fiber kings.
Oh, okay.
So which out here in the
A
forest,
lot
here
of
with
fiber kings out here.
Douglas
Yeah.
fir. This is a good year for fiber kings.
Yeah.
They unfortunately always come in low numbers, but it's a great edible.
They're out here. They're pretty common out here. But so you call it Clytopolis prunulus.
Yeah.
What would be the common name? I know you appreciate
The
common names.
Sweetbread mushroom or the miller.
The
And if you
sweetbread.
have two English common names, that means it's a special mushroom. No need to translate the scientific name, but there is two common English names, and that's really an indication that people appreciate that mushroom. The problem is often I don't find so much quantity, and they don't last so long. They're fragile, so when you have them in the basket, you know, with basket bullies like chanterelles or boletes that smash them up, so you know, not as handy as some other mushrooms, but I'm excited.
Yeah.
We're gonna have that tonight.
All right. Basket bullies. I love that.
So this is, I love these little jelly fungi. Cornea, what is it?
I think this one's Calicera viscosa.
Calocera cornea or so. And what are you suggesting?
Calicera viscosa?
Yes.
Yeah.
And these guys are actually edible, but you know, they don't bring no taster. So they're good decoration,
Yeah.
but I just love them. They're so beautiful. And there we go. Yeah. Yep. Cool.
So I have heard of them being the sweetbread mushroom, and I have heard that they're a decent edible, but I've never eaten one. So maybe we'll
and
cook
this-
some up
The
tonight.
same for me for years, and then finally, you know, I always saw it edible, but never bothered. And now I'm really into them. So
Cool.
That's very cool. And nobody else
Couple
picks
of
them.
them.
So that's
No,
part
no.
of the beauty. Now look here.
Oh, we've got Hygrophoropsis.
Yeah, the false chanterelles.
False chanterelle. So check this out. This guy's like really bright orange, which a newbie might.
Well, turn it over.
think.
and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
even more orange. Nah, that one is
Yeah.
not as intense.
They're a little washed out, a little old. Hygrophoropsis aurantiaca.
Yeah, well, it turns out we have probably 5 species under that name.
So
But
they call it a false chanterelle. Is it dangerous?
not really. So the first thing is when you have it in your hand, there's no weight. A chanterelle has weight, is rubbery, has a fruity odor, and has really decurrent gill-like structures under the cap. And these guys here, they're just so fragile, lightweight, and the gills are not very proper gills. These are related to the bolete, so they're in the order of the boletalis.
Oh, I did not know that.
S is like Gomphidius, Chrogomphus, Paxillus. These are all gilled mushrooms that are related to boletes, and many of them you can just peel the gills off like a sponge. Maybe we find one of the other ones. This one here is already.
So is this okay to eat though? I've heard people eat them.
I haven't eaten it myself. Maybe it will be worth a trial. I heard that it's not really toxic, but some people get an upset stomach or so.
Oh, okay.
So it's
Yeah.
one of these mushrooms where we don't know much, and the claim to fame is being a chanterelle lookalike.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, it's not something.
If they were good, I imagine we would hear that.
Oh, absolutely. And if
Yeah.
they were really toxic, we would also know that because
Yeah.
people make mistakes, and we don't have any reports of anybody having serious trouble with this mushroom.
What do we got here? Those are very
Beautiful.
vibrant.
Ah.
Gymnopolis, huh?
Well, if it's a Gymnopolis, it gotta be bitter. That's simple.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hoo, hoo, hoo.
Bitter, huh?
Oh yeah. And then it should be also reactive to UV light. Ooh,
Oh, yeah.
look at that. So Gymnopolis, Sordidus, I don't can't recall, but that's
Yeah.
definitely reactive to UV light.
They're
But
beautiful.
not from above.
Not from
just-
above.
Just from below.
They're very like kind of gummy looking, but these are related to some hallucinogenic mushrooms.
Yeah, there's some Gymnopolis luteofolius,
Yeah.
and then the spectabilis on the east coast is psychedelic, but the
Theresia.
bitterness deters everyone.
So by your reaction, we're gonna say those are not edible. Probably inedible.
No, way too bitter.
Way too bitter.
If you genetically don't taste bitterness, as usually males, there's a few males who don't taste it, then it might be a thing, you know. But
Yeah, probably. There's too many other.
it's really intense. Check that out here. So here we have a nice
Ooh.
assembly
Oh,
of all kinds of stuff. We have some big russulas,
Mm-hmm.
and then this might be more of the Cunoromyces lignicola, which is a spring mushroom. So I'm not really sold on that, but I can live without.
I'm thinking it's flammula.
You think it's a flammula, Nicola? Okay.
Now it would glow really bright with your UV again.
Well, we can try that, but you know, I can live without not knowing every little brown mushroom.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh
That's
yeah,
flammula.
flammula, cool. Wow. Okay.
They glow real bright.
Have a learning moment here. Yeah. So that was already over here, flammula.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because Cunoromyces lignicola is most frequently in the spring, out in the spring. So, anyways, so here we have a
Ooh, that's
really
a prize.
cool Tricoloma violaceus.
Cortinarius.
Cordinaris, thank you. Yes, Cordinarius. There we see the rust brown spores. And so, yeah,
Wow.
some people like to eat that. I've tried several times and I always came to the conclusion cardboard, which there's not many mushrooms I've labeled as cardboard. So maybe I give it another try. But
Yeah, it
it's
sure is
such a-
beautiful.
Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so easy to identify, you know, in that intensity of dark purple. Wow. We really have only one mushroom, and then you can always see that spore deposit. See that typical color for Cordinarius. And yeah, there's even a
Very fuzzy texture on top.
texture, velvety on the top, and
That,
I mean,
for some
just-
reason, that makes it seem not like appealing to eat to me. I don't know.
You don't like peaches?
Furry-
You're a nectarine guy?
Oh, yeah, good point. All right, touche. Okay.
I love peaches. I
Yeah.
think taste better than nectarines, and I'm happy to
Yeah.
handle that.
I mean,
little
these
bit of
mushrooms
love.
can be straight hairy though. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a mat of hair on top, and I'm like, I don't know if it doesn't scream eat me.
Well, I think
Yeah,
I think
know.
you have to try that tonight, since we said
Maybe.
we're trying a bunch of things you haven't tried yet.
We might have to
So,
slice it up.
I hope I get disproved that it's not as boring cardboard-like as I think. And there's some people who claim that, oh, very tasty, but I couldn't reproduce that. Yeah. Okay, so here we have a little, well, so the thing with
I don't
green
know what it
russulas, you know, to say, oh, green russulas, I love them. This is not the intense green we're looking for. It has a little bit of the color change like a shrimp, it seems like. And green mushrooms, you always gotta know the death cap.
Yeah.
Since it has a green cap. So the color here is pretty close to a death cap. But what's very different is no ring, also no valve on the stem base. And whenever you pick any of these guys, you gotta get down below and get the whole stem, because this is how people actually get killed, thinking they're picking a green russula, and then it can be phalloides. And of course that's more a European thing, because we have much less here in the Pacific Northwest. Phalloides hasn't really made it into the forests like in California.
Right.
But still, you know, it's as soon as you want to feed on green mushrooms, you gotta know Amanita phalloides.
Definitely.
And otherwise, like, you want to pick chanterelles, no, you don't need to know the death caps, because how would you confuse a yellow chanterelle with a death cap?
Yeah.
That's, you know, not really possible. But a green gilt mushroom,
That olivaceous kind of
Yeah,
greenish
yeah,
brown
yeah.
color, that's just like a death cap.
yeah, the color is pretty close, but also the cap shape is very untypical for Amanita. They're more regular shaped, and no ring, no vulva. So, and the yellowing here with the stem, with the spores. So,
And you're saying, but those are edible.
those are edible, probably. Let's taste.
Are they
right now.
mild or are they spicy?
That's the key point. They should be mild.
Yeah, I would.
Nice, good structure.
So this only works in this genus Russula, right? Yeah, you don't want to. Amanitas are not going to be spicy, so don't try.
If you want to eat amanitas, you really got to put your time into studying them, because
Yeah.
it's not worth it. You know, why put your health on the line?
Yeah.
Especially in a country like the U.S., where healthcare, you know, you're not only poisoning yourself, you might even bankrupting yourself. It's something when you poison yourself in Europe, you don't have to worry about. Right?
That's a good
You can
point.
just suffer badly from a mushroom poisoning and not
yeah.
torture yourself mentally about
Yeah.
the cost of what's going on.
Ooh, we got some orange jelly fungus. Everybody wants to know about this, right? So tell us about this.
Well, witch's butter. So pretty cool stuff. We have 3 species in the Pacific Northwest in 3 different genera actually now. And one on conifers and 2 on hardwoods. One of them is a parasite on Sterium. And so this is the conifer version. And then when you pick them, you gotta check for the stem base where it's attached. Some have a black attachment spot. So you know these, they don't have much taste. And you don't need to be able really to tell these 3 species apart, because all of them are, I don't know. Yes, they're edible, they're harmless. And the coolest thing I found to do with them, besides putting them raw on top of a salad for color, is making a fruit leather out of them.
Fruit leather.
Yeah, I put one recipe which some lady out here came up with the idea. I don't know where she got it from, but I credited her for it. And so you grind them up and you add some pear and you add some fruit juice and some lemon and sugar, and then you dry the whole thing and you have a really nice fruit leather. And mine didn't stay leathery for 2 years, but I kept it for a really long time and it got all dry in the fridge and crunchy.
It must not have been that good if you kept it around for 2 years.
If you have a sore throat or so, there's even a nice taste here. There's a little bit of a fruitiness, not much. It's a little strange too. It's very jelly, full of water, but not sour. But there's a fruity flavor in it, which surprises me right now. But
it could be, you know how sometimes the conifer needle smells citrusy?
Oh yeah.
It could be from...
Well, it's also what's good. It's good for your throat. So that jelliness and you know, it's used in traditional Chinese medicine for throat issues.
Ask you this. If you were to come across your favorite mushroom to eat in the forest, which one would it be?
It depends, but I mean, king boletes, I love king boletes. All the boletes are just awesome. They just have such a nice taste after being fried, you know.
Yeah.
But the thing is, really what I enjoy is diversity. You know, it doesn't have to, the same mushroom over and over again gets boring. But you know, I mean, we have the coniferous bear's head, or you know, lion's mane, and of course the cauliflower mushroom. These really strange mushrooms are incredible and so nice to find them. But I really also enjoy some of the milky caps. Of course, candy cap, but also just the Lactarius deliciosus group. You know, which some of them, they just have that crunchiness. There's no, you know, when they're old they get mushy too, but the crunchiness I really enjoy. And chanterelles, of course, and Hyphaloma capnoides, the wood tuft, the ash-gilt wood tuft is a really good one too. And I just had a whole bunch of albatrellas, really enjoyable and just a unique thing. And but you know, we need spruce for that.
More Hyphaloma.
Yeah, sulfur tuft. One of the worst tasting mushrooms. You first get a hit of metallic and then it's bitter and so bad. It's like, I don't think anybody ever gets poisoned by that mushroom because, I mean, who would swallow something that tastes that bad?
Is that right? Yeah.
Have you ever tasted it, Aaron?
I have not, no.
Oh, okay. This is just for safety, okay? We want to make sure people don't eat the wrong mushroom, but we got to have a handle on it, right? And taste is one thing, so you can recognize your mushrooms.
Sulfur tuft, Hyphaloma fasciculare. Let's see.
So first a little metallic. Then it comes bitter, even spicy. Oh,
Whoa. Oh. It's like I'm sucking on a brass doorknob.
That's a good one.
Oh.
It's really intense.
That is. Okay. Yeah, you wouldn't want to eat those.
No, I mean, who would do that, right? I mean,
All right. Thanks for putting me through that. Now it's oh my gosh, you guys. Don't. Yeah, try that. You should actually try it.
It offers you more than bitterness. And
they're pretty poisonous, though. That's what I've heard.
Yeah. No swallowing.
What do they? Are they deadly?
No, I don't. No. I mean, you gotta probably, maybe if you eat a whole plate, but who would do that?
What's that?
It is.
All right, I see some here. I see some more on the tree right over here. What do we find here, Daniel?
Well, there gotta be an oyster. That's a big slug. Look at that size of a slug.
Oh yeah.
Rolled in vinegar. That's what some of the first settlers ate out here.
Really?
Yeah.
Slugs?
Rolling in vinegar, that poor thing. Then the slime is removed, and I mean the French call it escargot, right? And it tastes like garlic and butter, and that's.
It's not a snail. The slugs are the same.
In German, we don't even make a distinction between slug and snail. I mean, it's like human and homeless human. No, not fair. So, sheltered and unsheltered slug, right? So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So this is definitely this snail took quite a bite out of this oyster. So oysters are these mushrooms growing out of wood, usually white or light brown, and really tasty stuff. And fairly easy to recognize. What you want to watch out for is at least a fruiting body of like 4 inches across. You know, not all of them need to have the size, and it's really helpful if they grow in clusters. So what you want to avoid is little mushrooms that may be 2 or 3 inches diameter, and something like the oyster links, they're called, Crabidotus, which are related to Inocebi, to the fiber caps, which contain a whole bunch of muscarine.
Oh.
So that's like probably the most dangerous lookalike for the oyster, and they're much smaller. So we try, when you don't have really if you don't know your oysters well yet, make sure at least one of the oysters, if they grow in a cluster, has 4 inches of diameter.
That they can get big. That you
have that proof. These mushrooms are big mushrooms.
Yeah.
And don't hunt when you don't know all the little ones without seeing a big one that's exactly the same.
Good advice.
So then it's fairly safe. Okay, these guys here now are big enough to give me confidence. I mean, they're still on the small side.
Yeah.
But if these weren't here and it's only these little ones, I would not recommend anybody to eat them, because Crabidotus is just too similar. These oysterlings. Yeah.
That could look like, Crabidotus. And a lot of people say oysterling, sure, it's okay to eat, but some of them have muscarine.
Some place where they were eating some, but others say they have the muscarine. And muscarine, you ooze liquids out of every orifice. It's a pretty nasty toxin.
Yeah, there's a big fruiting.
Big fruiting, which we came to late.
Yeah, there's a large fruiting. What I've done in the past, sometimes just grab a long stick and you can gently kind of knock them down.
Right.
But yeah, those are too old for sure. And you can get food poisoning from eating rotten mushrooms.
Oh yeah, most people, most food mushroom poisonings is old mushrooms. The German Mycological Society says most mushroom poisonings are old mushrooms. It's just, you have 90% water in a mushroom like this, and then 10% non-water content. And that 10%, 40% of the 10% are usually protein. So, and then, there's a little bit of fats in there, not so much. There's minerals, and then there's all the polysaccharides, the big sugars like beta-glucans that are really good for our digestive system. And then there's fibers in there, soluble and non-soluble fibers, which no food item offers as much fibers as mushroom does. And we don't have enough fiber in our diet. So it's really important for our gut health to move stuff through the system, to absorb like fibers. A chitin of mushrooms, for example, has been used in Ukraine to absorb radioactive metals. It just does that, and it moves them out of the system. So, so many benefits. And the protein getting old is something that gets us sick.
Yeah.
And you know,
Oh,
we
yeah.
just as wild mushroom hunters often just are too insistent on eating something which in the supermarket we would not take home, right?
That's true.
But oh no, I wanted to find this mushroom. I'm gonna eat this mushroom, and then you know. This here. See what I found.
All right.
And there's the pinkish note.
Oh, yeah.
So I like that pink, the pink oyster here for them, and they're pretty. Look at that, prime shape. So
Late in late in the season, kind of. We're in November, so this is
I mean, after
seems
we
a
had,
little unseasonable, but
after we had frosts and everything.
people work really hard to get a mushroom farm going. Look at this log. You could just put that in your yard, probably have it fruit for the next year.
Look at this! Wow,
How beautiful! Yeah.
what a fruiting! I love turkey tails. They are really the best chewing gum in the forest. Have you tried that?
Oh, I have not. Chewing gum.
Mhm.
Turkey tail chewing gum. Wow.
Isn't that good fungal taste?
That's
so
good.
And what you do with the turkey tail, so
Pretty fungusy.
I tried to slice them very thin and fry them, just too tough, you know. But when you make a broth out of them, such an awesome taste.
How do you know these are turkey tails? Just
Okay,
tell the
when you
people.
come from above, you see the
Yeah.
turkey tail shape,
Oh yeah.
and here the concentric rings, which is made by different concentration of hairs. And sometimes they can be also green from algae and sometimes purplish. And then when you turn it over, this is here like a crust fungus, but you get fine pores. So there's fine white pores.
Yeah.
And so when you want to use this for making like food, it can be a little annoying. Sorry. When you get all the bark with it. Not that the bark would be toxic or so. So what I like to do is when I pick it in the forest, when they get bigger here, so they will all grow still for several months. And then at home I take it, and then with scissors, after I pick them, and then with scissors at home I cut the bark away.
Clean them up.
And then you boil them, like 20 minutes on a low sizzle or so, low boil, and you get this incredible broth. It tastes so good. And then you can just turn that into ice cubes. So whenever you make a soup or a sauce, you throw 1 or 2 or 3 ice cubes of that really tasty broth, which has lots of health benefits. We had studies from the National Institute of Health that was at Bastyr University north of Seattle in Kenmore, and there they were given it women being treated with chemo for breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones who got turkey tail on the side felt much better, had also more success rate, higher success rates than without it. So the best is not to wait till we have cancer, but just to use these guys and infuse our kitchen with it, because they're so tasty. With mushrooms, I'm convinced it's better to overcook them to undercook them. With zucchini, no. I mean, but zucchini ain't no porcini. So the porcini, they don't mind if they get overcooked. As long as there's enough water in the frying pan, you can do 30 minutes of cooking, no problem. But don't try that with your zucchini. I mean, so that looks like Mycena hematinus, hematopus, the bloodfoot, the bleeding Mycena. It's a little old here, but you see some discoloration from the bleeding.
Yeah, I've tried to cut them with a somewhat dull knife. Didn't really get a lot of blood, but if you have a really sharp razor and you slice the top of the cap, you can get a drip of what looks like blood coming out of there.
Let's see if I get my really sharp mushrooming knife available on the mushrooming webpage. It's sharp as a razor blade.
It seems kind of dangerous for mushroom picking.
And after I cut myself, I have the feeling.
Yeah.
So let's see
A guy actually donated one to our mushroom club. He was like, "You could put this in the raffle. It's so dangerous."
Oh, there it comes. See how it happens. So this is one of the few non-lactarius that bleeds. And I'm sorry that I hurt you like this, little guy.
So there we go. You got it bleeding.
Razor blade.
So you can get this knife on the mushrooming website. Yeah.
You can, with a nice mushrooming engraving.
I swear I just saw a Bigfoot run behind some trees over there behind you.
Yeah, that's where all the fiber bullets went.
Yeah.
We got Sasquatch.
Yeah, what'd you find here?
So this is the winter oyster, which has some of the coolest colors, especially for an oyster. So it has the yellow here. It has a very pronounced yellow stem base, And look how it's separated from the gills. So there's a clear transition between the gills and the stem, which you don't find with our pale summer or late oysters. And the cap has greenish tones, but it also can be blue, has blue and go purple. And when they get really old, they can be intensely orange, close to a lobster.
Wow.
So it has just all these color ranges. It handles frost well. So when everything else is frozen and liquefied, these guys, they can freeze and come back. And this is one of the mushrooms to enjoy in the winter.
Sarcomyxa ceratina, is
Yes,
that the right?
Sarcomyxa ceratina, and what
The
was
late
mix-
fall oyster, I've heard it called. That's another one that has a couple of different common names.
Yeah,
that.
and scientific names it went through a whole bunch too. Pretty cool mushroom.
Oh, have I heard it called the peeling oysterling?
The peeling oyster.
Oh,
The
okay.
ling we
Yeah.
better don't use for these guys.
Because they peel it.
Yeah, the
Oh.
peeling oyster. That's
Okay.
another.
I never understood why they called
See, and
it the
this is the cool thing about common names, even if it's not codified. I mean, the European countries, even in the UK, Germany, France, Italy, they all try to codify also their common names so that
Yeah.
they have an official list, which on one side is great. On the other side, why taking, each valley has their own names, and
Yeah,
there's a
it's
beauty
tough.
to it too.
Yeah.
But if you know a handful of common names, just like knowing scientific names when you know their meaning, gives you information about the mushroom.
Totally,
And so
yeah.
the peeling oyster, now we got to peel all the other oysters and see, is this the only one that peels,
Ah,
right?
yeah, good point. Yes,
But I
yes.
really, it's like good names. And this is the thing we need, is we don't just need common names and more names. We need good names that stick. Wow, look at what we got here.
Wow, what a lucky.
Yeah,
Lucky
what
find.
a beauty, that cauliflower. It's still growing. Look how tight it is here.
Wow. What do you call this?
The cauliflower mushrooms, Barassis radicata. So radicata means rooting, and it has one taproot that goes straight into the root system, maybe of that old stump. And the fascinating thing is these guys are polypores, like in the same family as conchs and sulfur shelf or chicken of the woods, and it's so different than all these other polypores. And it has a really unique aroma by itself, I can't describe it. Well, it's a little fruity, but it's fascinating. I mean, the only pity is that we don't find it often enough.
It's kind of rare a little bit, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's oak growth, as we see here with that old stump. So,
it does smell kind of fruity a little. That's interesting.
my piece doesn't have so much taste here, but it was one of the outside things, yeah. Yeah, but nice consistency. There comes the taste. Oh, I gotta watch out that I don't swallow.
He can't help
They're
it.
too tasty, I like to swallow. Yeah, so
Wow, this is one of my favorite edibles for
absolutely.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's and
You really can't confuse it with anything, yeah?
no, it's idiot proof. And we like that, So
Yeah.
in my book I put that under the list of the 14 fantastic fungi,
Ah.
meaning tasty and no dangerous lookalikes.
Yeah.
And that's really so important when you start out mushroom hunting. You don't want to deal with the difficult mushrooms, the ones where warning, 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 and you're all nervous, and you might even poison yourself. No, you want to stick with the stuff that has really no lookalikes, and of course everything, I mean, there's people who can't tell the difference between an orange and an apple if that's not part of their lives, right?
Right.
But so same with mushrooms. Very cool. So we have a story that says if you leave a piece behind, that helps sustaining the fungus, but I also seen sources that say there's no scientific basis for that.
Okay.
I mean, it's the fruiting body of a fungus
Right.
that lives in the roots of a tree.
Way down there, right?
Way
Like,
down,
way
yeah.
down.
It has one taproot into the root system of the tree.
I know I've heard people say, "Oh, you come back next year, it'll be in the same spot." I've tried that year after year, and I've never found it in the same
Really?
spot. Yeah, have you?
No, and I tried
No.
the same thing, and we
They
tell
never
that
come back.
everybody,
I
and
know.
it makes sense, that
Yeah.
it happens in the same spot.
Never seen it
Maybe
though.
Over here, over there. So,
I would bet my money that it doesn't.
if a neighbor doesn't beat you to it, right?
Yeah, or the deer or whatever.
Right. But when you harvest it here, there's a whole bunch of rotten.
Oh,
See that?
Mm-hmm.
So
It got kind of gross on the bottom there.
yeah, that's why.
I don't know if I'd want to eat that, yeah?
Yeah, no. I mean, it looked so firm here. You
Yeah.
know, the top. I wish
We're
I
going to
didn't-
leave that behind. It was a little beyond.
Okay, next time.
Beautiful. Yeah, what did you find here?
I found some deer mushrooms, and the deer mushrooms, they are dear to me in off season. In main season, there's enough other stuff that maybe has a little bit of a firmer texture, a little bit more taste. But the cool thing about deer mushrooms is they fruit because they grow on wood and they're fairly easy to identify. They already grow in the summer when there's no other mushroom around. Like in August, September, with one rain, they might fruit. And what you're looking for is, so you see that pretty smooth brownish cap that has very fine fibers, radiating fibers. And then you turn it over, it has free gills. They don't touch the stem. And the stem, when you look at the stem, it has very fine black fibers. In addition, it's pink sport.
Yeah.
So pink sport on wood with the fibers on the stem, it's got to be a deer mushroom. You know, we don't have so many pink sport mushrooms that are edible, and that's one of them. You know, sometimes they're just this size class, and they can have double the diameter.
Some really more darker ones
Yeah,
here.
that's probably the ones who the frost got. Is it still firm?
No, it's
Yeah.
mush.
Yeah, when they get old or so. So, you know.
Those
and
are
then-
nice ones. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll fry them up and we'll judge in comparison to
Okay.
the other weird stuff we have. And I think taste-wise they should be able to keep it up with the oyster and
Oh, okay.
consistency-wise.
All right, we are wrapping it up out here in the woods. It is.
No, I want to stay.
I
want
know.
to stay in Mushroom Wonderland. I never want to leave.
It's beautiful out here, huh?
It is, it
Yeah,
is,
A lot
and-
of mushrooms.
The lack of light is driving us out, and the
Yeah.
anthills are really big here, so they
Yeah.
might move us out if you don't watch out.
Big, huge red anthill. Those will bite. But we're going to head to the kitchen now, cook up some of these less common edible mushrooms and try them out with Daniel Winkler. So,
Okay.
all right, let's go. All right, we got back here to the kitchen. We dried off a little bit, and
The mushrooms are still wet, but I washed them also.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem washing mushrooms. Cornarius violaceus is, every time I ate it, I had the feeling it's pretty much fungal cardboard. We start without oil, we just do dry frying. I always try the stems too. Sometimes the stems are more crunchy than the rest, and that's not a bad thing. So let's see what happens.
so dry frying. You just got a hot, dry pan. I noticed you turn that all the way up on high.
I like it high, it's quicker.
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
patient enough that I would start on a low temperature. They release the water, they shrink up, and then you add your butter and oil once they start sticking to the frying pan. So
That's
now
gonna start burning
It's a little
quick.
too hot. Well, they were already so dark in the first place, right?
Yeah, they don't look particularly appetizing. No.
Well,
Dark
that's one
there.
of the things. In a lot of cultures, people don't like eating dark or black things.
Yeah.
So this is definitely a bit of a hit for these guys.
We're trying it out.
Okay.
Oh wow.
To get a little beyond, I mean, we definitely don't eat here with our eyes. You know,
Okay.
seeing this black.
What do you think?
It's bland. It's just.
It is bland. There's nothing.
There's not
really
even
there.
really fungal.
No, I was just getting the saltiness. I kind
Yeah.
of like the salt.
And I put even butter in there. Usually everything in butter tastes good, but
Yeah.
that mushroom manages to forget the butter. So once again, that mushroom does not win a prize culinarily. It's one of the most beautiful ones, but
Not when it's cooked.
no. Are
But
you
you're
saying
right.
we should be trying it raw?
No, no, probably not.
No.
It also puts this beautiful blackish purple color in your mouth.
No, do you?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it really does.
Okay.
Okay, we tried the Cornarius violaceus. We ate all of it, pretty much. So, I mean, I'm going in for a second.
I'm really hungry. That's the reality.
Okay. It tastes better because I'm like, this is delicious.
Well, even being really hungry, it is not. Okay, let's do something. Now the next one is we're gonna do the sweetbread mushroom. or the
Oh
miller.
yeah, okay. All right, so now he's chopping up Clytopolis prunulus, the sweetbread mushroom. This one smells like a sack of wet flour to me. You think it's a pretty good tasting? You've eaten this one before?
I've eaten that one before, and it luckily loses the wet flour taste. So here we start out dry frying again because they were out in the rain, and so maybe before heat. Thank you.
Okay, the sweetbread mushroom going in. These are shriveling up immensely.
Yeah,
They've got a lot smaller.
I'll take 2 pieces here. I put already some salt on there. I didn't put pepper.
This is Clytopolis prunulus, the sweetbread mushroom. There you go, Clytopolis prunulus, sweetbread mushroom. Those are good. Fine, yeah.
But it's tasty stuff. Get some more before I eat it all.
All right. Look kind of portobello-esque when you lay them down in the pan like that.
So deer mushroom, and the deer mushroom is pretty thin-fleshed, and often it is full of springtails.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know, it's like total genocide when you put one in there and there's 1,000 springtails in there. It's really crazy. So I put them gills down first.
To kill the bugs?
No.
Okay.
I want them to release their water. It's just, you know, everything is so wet right now, and
This is another one I've never tried, the deer mushroom, the pluteus.
let's see. You gonna pull that? No. Okay. Two.
Letting off a lot of water. These gills are just
Yeah.
turning to mush.
So we're trying to get rid of the mushiness here, and we already got rid of a lot of water, and at some point they will brown nicely, and that's what we want.
Hopefully I don't get a stomachache from pluteus,
Yeah, we
guys.
don't follow our rules. You never should eat more than 1 new mushroom. So here we go.
Oh yeah, we're trying all these new mushrooms. That's not recommended. We're not eating a lot.
No, and none of these are on the list that some people get reactions to it. So
Okay. The big one has a lot more flavor. Potato. The smell of potatoes. I don't think I like that much.
it's okay, but
It's okay.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not offensive.
No, but it's interesting how different it is, right?
Yeah. Like raw potatoes.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you'd think yuck, but it's really not yuck. Not too bad. So you got a big russula here. A big mild green russula.
Well, maybe here I sliced up too many. That could be the case. And then usually I like the pieces a little smaller.
All right, look at
Okay.
this. This russula is looking fantabulous here.
Always good structure. Turn that off.
Oh. Okay. The texture is unusual. I like this like creaminess sort of thing,
Creaminess.
kind of. I don't know how to
Well-
describe that, but it's different.
There's different age classes in here, so the creaminess I would think is maybe the older one. The younger ones are more. Let's put that on a little plate. You know, so it's really. Let's see. I think we tried the gilts down thing here too.
They have pretty tough stems, the
They have very,
Lacaria.
very tough stems, but sometimes, you know, that little crunchiness can be
Good, huh?
exciting.
Ricotta going in the pan. A lac, the deceiver.
Now,
Here's the Lacaria.
or what's left over of the Lacaria.
Yeah, they just cook away to nothing, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Let's see. Yeah, we didn't really roast them.
Oh. Dang it.
Good structure, huh?
No,
Yeah.
I don't like the flavor. I was hoping for more.
Yeah, not too much flavor.
No.
That's why I said, you know, if you have like a sherry, port wine, something, you know, you gotta infuse a little bit of but it is,
It's fungal. It's kind of sweet.
yeah,
It's not bad.
no,
Not
but
bad.
it's not.
It's not the greatest. They're so common. There's so many of them that, you know,
Yeah.
it would be nice if they tasted a little better.
So I've seen them on the markets in East Asia.
Oh.
So people were, oh, now I'm trying the stem. Wow, so fibrous.
Very fibrous.
It tastes buttery, and I think I didn't use butter.
I know. It's like very rich. It's not bad. Right on. So, thank you, Daniel, for coming on Mushroom Wonderland. This is a really unique video doing the catch and cook and everything of the unusual mushrooms. And we're about to.
Took us years to get there, right? We've been talking about it for how long?
I know, yeah. This video's been a long time coming. How can people get a hold of your book?
Mushrooming.com. Very happy if you buy it from my webpage. If you go to a bookstore, I make $1.20 per book, and if you buy it from me, I make a multiple of $1.20.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and I mail out usually very quickly. If you want to have it signed to yourself, let me know. And I have all kinds of other stuff on my web pages too.
Awesome.
So check that out.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us
Well,
again.
thanks for sharing all that fungal fun here.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you on the next episode. Much love, everyone.